Buhari came, that moment he jumped to 360, 400, and was now God with this. Do you understand? We didn't know what was happening. But one of the things I think he failed at was he was an ethnic man. He enabled the Fulanis. I mean, Mieti Allah became like
people that cattle rearers.
Yes,
became.
In fact, he said
an organ to be consulted for a federal government to make a policy.
I mean, he said that the cattle routes, that houses and roads have taken over, that they should go and trace cattle routes. I mean, from Zamfara through Benue, through Jos and all those places. That was archaic. So he became that, an enabler of evil. I mean, he allowed Amechi to start building railway when our railways in Nigeria are not working.
Railway from Matadi.
Exactly, from Katsina to Matadi.
In Niger Republic.
In Niger Republic. Electricity that we don't have here.
Because he said he has some cousins
in Niger. You know, if you step out, I've watched the documentary. The moment you step out of his Daura, I mean, there's no gate. You step into Niger.
Yeah, it's not far.
You know that it's not far. You don't understand. It's like a town that is mostly joined together. They are not. It's just a small custom post that is there. They say, the only thing we don't allow here, don't bring in drugs, don't bring in. I mean, you just step in. It's across border. So one or two of those things he did was that he enabled these people. I mean, he could just look past. They could do whatever they would do, and they will be captured by security, and nobody will ever be prosecuted.
Okay, let me come. I'll get back to you. Though Amechi is not in discourse now.
Yes,
that Amechi that ran that policy as transport minister is now coming to Nigerians. You know, Wike said Amechi is just hungry for power. You know, they are all trained jobs against each other. Amechi said he doesn't argue with children, so and all that. So that same Amechi is coming to Nigerians, telling us this time he wants to be the Messiah, willing to serve one tenure. Meanwhile, one of the rail projects he did, the railway from Matadi it's a railway to nowhere, serving Nigeria. No good for no. There's no good there. I don't see how that serves Nigeria. So, how do people like that are they always able to come into the forefront? He's one of the principal characters in this coalition.
You see, that is why most people have issue with the coalition the way it is today. The formation of the coalition, those in the forefront. People have issue with people like Amechi, David Mark, Atiku Abubakar, and the rest of them. So, coming to Amechi did a lot of sacrifices as a Minister of Transportation. If we talk about the railway, I would take your mind back to some other things. Before the emergence of Amechi, there was this Nigerian Maritime University in Ekerekoko in Delta State.
Yes, Ekerekoko.
Instead of Amechi to ensure that is by the sea.
Yes.
Maritime is all about sea. Instead of Amechi to ensure that this university take off properly, because it was at the verge of taking off that Goodluck Jonathan had left office. Amechi floated the University of Transportation in Katsina just to curry favor from Buhari and the northern elements, because he felt Buhari was going to hand over power to him. So everything Amechi did is sacrifices.
Just for himself.
Just for himself. If Amechi comes today and tells you that he wants to be president, just open his report card for him. With this, can you be a true president? Amechi is not to be. So we are not talking about Amechi like you said,
I got it.
Because when you talk about Amechi and the coalition, that is why people have to look at the coalition with another, another eye to see whether this coalition is really for the interest of the Nigerian masses or for those who are coming together to form the coalition.
Okay, let's peg it. Though what Buhari benefited from is a semblance of this coalition, but that was a merger. That was not a coalition. Yes. But it has a semblance. It was just in general, and English with this one. It's a gathering of people to take over power. Yes. That's exactly what they are doing. And no matter the name, no matter how they structure, the governance structure. Okay, this one, they are adopting a single party and individuals will come under it, unlike what they had before, fragments of all other parties, coming together. Buhari got the ticket then. I think there was primary. Atiku lost.
Sure, there was serious primaries.
So there was primaries. And the one they're having now is coalition. And people are not thinking there should be need for primaries because at the end of the day, the Nigerian primaries are usually delegate primaries, But if the one that had primaries still produced Buhari that ended up failing Nigerians, though, like somebody said, somebody was making a mockery of the current government we have today, that is saying it's even worse than Buhari's president tenure, that the hardship now is even too hard that Buhari himself couldn't survive it.
Well, that's
true. so we didn't know. Unfortunately, some are missing even Buhari's government now. Sincerely, some Nigerians are really missing that government. But because you had something that appeared to be worse, doesn't mean the earlier one was good. Buhari government wasn't good. That was a colossal failure. If their primaries presented somebody like Buhari, how are we sure this coalition will present a candidate that does not look like a messiah, but at the end of the day, an utter failure?
Yes, two things. The first thing I will respond that, that Buhari could not survive this government because he's tougher than his own government. Because in his own government, there was enough money for him to go for medical treatment and survive. Remember that he went on medical treatment severally, and he came back successfully. But because of the hardship of this government, he went for just one single treatment.
That's the one we're told.
He never came back alive. So that's to tell you that this government is in the worst situation compared to his government. Don't forget, you said it doesn't mean that his government was a good government. That said, this coalition, like I said before, this coalition is coalition in progress. Those who have come together to say that we are forming coalition, those who genuinely have Nigerian interests at heart, people like Peter Obi, Mallam, Nasir Rufai, they will soon come to realize that the people they are coaliting with, they will not take them anywhere. That they will go back because they still have time on their side. That's why I said this coalition is a project in progress. Because if they go the way they are going, in fact, some of us could say Tinubu carry out because there is no need for it. Because if you give out Atiku or a message, for instance, it would not be known. It's the government of vengeance. Just to know, when people say Buhari want to come to correct corruption and all of that, Buhari was just coming for vengeance. Those who overthrew him, he wanted to punish them and all of that. And he wanted to get back to them. He wanted to show to them that he can still get office. The moment he stepped into the presidency, he sat back and realized, started using toothpick to pick his teeth and forget about governance. So if you give power to Atiku, it's going to be the same thing. If you give to a Messi, it's going to be the same thing. So those who are in the coalition should look very well and see what they will do, what they can do to convince Nigeria that they are for the interest of Nigeria. But as it is today, I think it's more of personal interest than the interest of the common man.
All right. Buhari, one of the agencies of government that you remember Buhari for is NNPC PTF, though defunct now, because in 1976, Buhari became the head of Federal Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Resources, as it's called that time. He was also named the chairman of the newly formed NNPC. And NNPC we have today has become a bundle of corruption. The other day we hear that there is a 220 trillion naira unreconciled. Buhari appears to have passed through all the corridors. He was a northeastern governor at the time. I think that was between 1975, after he was part of the...
That was the
Murtala. He was part of the team that carried out that coup against Gowon, and eventually ended up becoming a northeastern governor. He has been in the corridors of powers. These people have a way. In 2015, he was still able to convince Nigerians he wants to repair Nigeria. These are the people that have been corridors of power, all true. We have to learn lessons. Pushing that to coalition we have today, we still have people who have been in corridors of powers all through and have done nothing differently. Senator David Mark was a Senate president, I think 2 tenures.
4 tenures.
No,
Senate president 2 tenures.
Yes.
But as a senator, 4 tenures.
He was a Senate president 2 tenures. Now, in these 2 years, this is not to give Asiwaju's government credence or whatever, but in these 2 years, they are so furious that coming out, are they hijacking Nigerians' anger against this government? Just exactly what Buhari did in 2015 by hijacking Nigerians' anger against the PDP of that time.
First of all, I won't agree with the word hijack.
Yeah.
Now, hijack means somebody has it. Then you want to take it from the person.
Yeah.
Who has it?
The Nigerian people has it.
Nigerian people don't have it. They
Have
to,
they? I do.
No. If they have the anger, they have to come out and demonstrate their anger. You see, the only way to participate is to come out.
Yeah.
If you are not coming out, no matter how you speak in your house, it's not going to come out on the public domain. So if you say that maybe he rode on their anger, it's better than he say hijack means that people were trying to do something, you now came to the forefront and you hijacked it. Now, the Nigerian people that are talking must come out. And let me tell you something. People don't get less than the leader that they bargained for. God gives people according to how they are, the leader of how they are.
Leaders are representation of the people.
Of the people. Do you understand? So that's what we need to see. Now, I was talking about enabler. Now, look at people like Malami. Malami is in this coalition. Malami ruled with authority, right? Yeah. As Justice Minister, Attorney General and Justice Minister. Before Buhari came,
commanding and controlling the FCC at will.
Everything. Who was Malami before he came? Now, how was his power checked? Number two, Buhari wasn't hands-on. Buhari elected, look at the Minister for FCT.
Was docile.
Docile is still another statement.
I think his achievement is that he shouldn't smoke in the public.
Do you understand? I can go, Minister for Aviation. They went and painted a plane to bring to us till today. No prop, nothing.
They are all APC members.
I can go on and on and on and on and tell you a lot of things that he did. Buhari was Minister for Petroleum for 8 whooping years. Petroleum was directly under him. He just had Minister for State, Kachuku for the 4 years, and one other guy for another 4 years. But he was at the helm of the Ministry of Petroleum. Now, if you look at his track record, where he's coming from, Northeast governor, yeah, became Minister of Petroleum,
yeah,
right?
And NNPC chairman.
NNPC chairman till 1979, right? Then he now went on, I think, on some training, and all that. What was his track record? What are the things he has brought out before? Why did the people buy it that Buhari was a non-corrupt politician? Before that time, he was never into politics.
Okay, let me put it this way. Is it high time Nigerians try somebody who has business record? Let's go straight for somebody who has private practice record, not somebody who has been in government. All he knows how to spend money. He doesn't know how to manage what we call limiting factors. They just want to spend. We have had somebody on this table who told us that government buying vehicle and all those are operational costs that must not be controlled.
That's the person is no longer believing the government
has resigned. He's no longer working with the president. So is it high time we bring somebody who has run business successfully to manage Nigeria?
Absolutely, yes.
With a sense of social
responsibility. Yes, I say it again with all sense of humility, that it is high time Nigerians to hire an experienced hand. What I meant me to say, an experienced hand, somebody who had managed his business successfully and grow his business from nothing to something. For instance, I'm not holding forth for Peter Obi. Yeah. Peter Obi started as an entrepreneur back in the days, in his undergraduate days in Nsukka. As a student, the records are there. He will tell you, go and verify. He has managed, Fidelity Bank successfully and other businesses. These are the kind of people that you can trust. Take, for instance, Mallam Hardo. He has a track record. He has managed BPP for us. Yeah. He has.
He was in private practice.
The FCT we see today, you can give it to him. He's a successful architect. he has an architectural firm that is still operating till tomorrow.
Quantity surveyor.
And a quantity surveyor, whatever in that regard.
Yeah.
He's still operating till tomorrow. These are people who have run their private business and they are successful. And they have taken it a show in the government sector and they have displayed their competency in public sector.
You know why I'm worried about that? Because one of the problems we have in governance with these people who are so used to only spending public money is that they spend what they don't have. Before you find, for example, a typical businessman using Mercedes-Benz, he has money that can buy that Mercedes-Benz 10 times behind.
Or Bentley.
Of course.
Behind. Before he will not buy that Mercedes-Benz. But you find somebody in government expenditure,
It's government money.
his salary can't even buy that. His salary times 20. Can't buy what he's using.
No,
and they are
you can't even
comfortable.
buy the tire of that car is driving.
They are comfortable. And nobody's querying them. Nobody. And all this we thought when Buhari came. Let me tell you, the first 6 months of Buhari, everybody was like this.
Uptight.
Uptight. It's a body language. As some of I remember the rainy season pushing the power generation up. They say the body language has increased the electricity. Nigeria does suffer. They say body language has increased the electricity. I say, if body language is all required to increase the electricity, we'll save our money and use body language to generate it.
Of course.
But that said, it all failed when they realized that when his appointments started coming in, same old people who just were partisan. How did that hope of Nigerians got dashed by Buhari taking a worse turn than the turn he was expected to remove?
Well, like we said, body language.
Yeah.
You see, body language. For example, Etta was Minister for Humanitarian Affairs. Now, before Etta was there, there's a lady who was there, Aja, I can't remember her name too well now. The corruption, in humanitarian affairs was stinking and it was very bad. And it was to the purview of everybody. They said they were feeding students all over the country. Nobody, that was also the era of COVID. And a lot of these things. There was never a probe or the removal of any person alleged
Did Buhari
to have
change any minister?
No.
Did they even remove
Apart
him?
from this lady that was in finance, that said she didn't do her youth service.
Adeosun. That resigned her. If Adeosun knew what she by now,
She would have resigned.
She's one of the best.
She would have sat
A
down
very
there.
smart lady.
Exactly. Parallel, and all that. So if you see what we had ministers that were docile, that were ATS minister. Nobody has ever seen that kind of a thing before. I mean, by mid-term in a particular era, you should be looking at how your ministers
Just like
are
people
doing.
are even calling on Asiwaju.
To reshuffle the cabinet.
Yes,
Do
reshuffle
you
the
understand?
cabinet.
Let's look at people that can perform better than these people. So the enabler I'm talking about, he allowed most of these things to go. And I remember the word he said about Gandola. When they told him that Ganduje was stuffing dollar in his pocket, he said, "Are you sure it's not AI they used to doctor it?" He said so. I mean, it's not something. So most of these things just kept on. Anybody could do anything. Anybody could say anything. The bandits, the Fulani headsmen, the terrorists, they were running rampage. And what hit was Katsina State.
The thing is this, I told you that Buhari only came into offices to prove a point that he is popular and for purpose of vengeance. That is why immediately...
But first tenure was enough to achieve that.
No,
he didn't need to recontest.
No, we see, immediately after his election, he sat back in his parlor. The picture was still in the internet. He started to picking his teeth. And he has achieved that Buhari came for second tenure. It's not of Buhari we. It is those who were benefiting from his rule, the likes of Mallam and the rest of them, who were in control. Abakari, later Abakari of blessed memory, who were in control. They were the people who now want to continue to stay in power. Buhari never had any intention to govern Nigeria other than to say, if they overthrow my military government, I can still come back any which way. That's why each time he loses election, he threatened the country with violence. So Buhari, as it were, He was never a patriot. People will say he's a patriot and all that. Like you always say that you don't speak ill of the dead. But if the dead deserve to die and they had not done anything to be said good of, personally, I will not say otherwise.
Yeah.
Because Buhari never meant good for this country. But rather, Buhari meant evil for, he terrorized us. He put us in a state of quagmire.
Yeah.
Most people lost their life under the administration of Buhari. Like he said, it's only Buhari government that after election does not know what to do. He never appointed one single appointment.
It's 6 months.
It's 6 months.
No, you see what happened?
Anybody who is prepared for governance,
Yes.
the moment look at other clients in America and all that, the cabinets are
Ready before
and then they start hitting the ground. It's only Buhari that you now see that you can be in office for 6 months, you don't make any appointment, nothing wrong. And that's Tinubu had to. National Assembly had to make a law to even correct this anomaly that you must appoint your cabinet within 30 days of being sworn in. It's all because of Buhari. Just to tell you how prepared he was.
You know, Buhari's Nigerians still feel duped today, because when they were shouting change, the change was more about how we run our government policies and how we, government agencies steal money. And if you put a private sector side by side, for example, bring in a company like DSTV, bring in a company like MTN, bring in agencies, any agency of federal government, you can't weigh the corruption in any of them to be equal by any means, showing that there is a lot of corruption in public sector. So when Buhari was coming, the mantra was change. So Nigerians were expecting change from running government policies and government agencies. But immediately Buhari entered, they turned it. They said this change starts with you. Instead of them. And people felt duped. What is it that we can remember
About Buhari?
about Buhari that he drastically changed from that mantra of change that affected Nigeria positively?
Second Niger bridge,
Okay.
at least.
Yeah.
He gave it to the Eastern.
The Second Niger Bridge was started by General.
It was started by Jonathan Oda, but
It first started.
He completed it.
Yes, it first started.
Completed it.
We can't take that away from
Completed
him.
it, yes.
It will also be on record that Buhari said that he won't do anything for Abuja people since they didn't vote for him.
So the only thing I can remember is that.
Hold on, let me finish now. He said, why the people that didn't vote for me, why would they enjoy the same thing?
We now got the
You see, it's not about us speaking evil about anybody, whether it's a government in power, whether it's a government that is out of power, or the leader of a government that is dead. It's only that anything you do, people will always speak, whether good or bad. Today, we all speak about El-Rufai. Whether you like El-Rufai, you don't like him, El-Rufai puts Abuja where we are today. Not just only in construction, but in service delivery. El-Rufai will write, if they are not delivering, if you are not getting service delivery, call this number. It was everywhere. It's not, we didn't see people go on strike like the way they are going on strike now. I mean, it was an organized Abuja that we saw during El-Rufai. I will still talk about it. If we also see the time that we talk about El-Rufai that is a religious bigot or ethnic, we will still say it. I don't know if you understand. So, but from what we have seen now, we can't really pinpoint. Maybe somebody can show us or say, this is what Buhari did, this is what Buhari did. We didn't see massive construction in this country. Now, what the government are supposed to do, the government is supposed to be creating a right environment for businesses to strive, not for them to do the business by themselves. But because of the insecurity that became prevalent everywhere in this country, from Oshun to Enugu to Katsina, and like I said, Katsina was worst hit in Buhari era. If they would come out and say it, they knew how Masari struggled, how they were bringing AK-47 to a meeting, they were giving them pardon. Katsina was hit. I wonder if they will really mourn in Katsina.
Okay, the other day, when Peter B was handing over flag to Moalo, the Anambra LP candidate, in the election coming forth, Obi said that as a politician, people will measure you by the fulfillment of your campaign promises. You know, in Nigeria, we just say we want this, we want this. We don't remember their campaign promises and measure them by that. Buhari campaign promises was 4 new refineries in the 4, renovate the 4 and have built 4 new ones.
You see, that is why what you are saying
in
today.
Some way he tried to deny the $1 per.
Wait a minute.
Dollar.
That is why you are saying what you are saying on the internet today. Nigerians are saying that it's half short of rejoicing. Although I've seen a video clip from Katsina and Kaduna, people rejoicing that Buhari Yamatu. We don't know whether it's AI or history, but that's not the issue. You know, Buhari campaign promises. There were 2 things he hammered on, that he will take care of the security while Osinbajo takes care of the economy. The security became worse after he ascended through. As though Nigerians were expectant that an ex-military head of ex-general, that he will do everything possible to curb the insecurity that was then in the northeast and part of the northwest. But that's not to be. The insecurity spread across the country. And to make matters worse, he empowered the military Allah to be terror against the Nigerian citizen, to the extent that he proposed a policy of having a Ruga or in the other 36 states. That is, they will carve out a portion of lands for the military Allah to rear their cattle to the detriment of others. These were the achievements he made. But for the first time, the Nigerian people resisted, and he called that back. When you come to the economy, he said he will rebuild the refinery. We never saw a drop of petroleum from any of the 4 refineries. He didn't repair the one that was existing, not to talk of building a new one. They campaigned to us that they will make the naira to $1. The dollar left from 150 to, as at that he was living, 360. So when you put all of this together, even though Nigeria could not measure his campaign promises to his administration, but today, in death, they are expressing it in anger, and that is what is reflecting on the internet. When you say, instead of people, talking good of the man, sympathizing with his family and all of that, how can they sympathize with his family and him for all the pains that he has caused them? Of all these promises he made, he never fulfilled. Rather, he increased their pains in that, in that direction, especially in terms of insecurity.
That of insecurity was so bad. During Buhari's era, there was something that looked like the state aiding people to be defenseless. I remember the time they asked every individual gun owners to submit their guns. People that have guns for hunting, which, of course, even though you have guns for hunting, when faced with threats to your life, I mean, you have self-defense. There's no limit as to what you can use for self-defense, provided it's proportionate. So people should submit their guns, and I think police stopped licensing, even guns for games and the hunting and all that.
The AK-47 was
people perceived that to be a state way of making people defenseless, not to be able to even raise the slightest of defense against these people wielding AK-47 who neither had the license for it nor do they have the training to actually handle those equipment safely. And these AK-47 wielding people pass through our roads, in going to where they are passing through, places that they expected checkpoints to be at. And everybody saw it as Buhari's aiding of the insecurity. At a point, they were issuing threats against Abuja, people living in Abuja.
They didn't issue threats.
So
they came in.
Yeah, they came in.
You remember the presidential guard? Yeah. Some of them were killed around Buhari.
Around Buhari.
They were invading estates.
They were invading estates. So that was even when Tinubu came on board, a lot of people thought like Tinubu had performed in the insecurity because there wasn't anything that looked like state aiding of insecurity, whether verbally or in any form. We didn't see that immediately, even though we still believe that the insecurity is still very, very high. What is it that propelled Buhari to be silent about Nigerians losing their life?
There's this lecturer that came to tell us about how the Fulani operate across the West African region, going to the Sahel.
Yeah.
And he told us how they try to do things and send help messages with a cola note to their people to come. They have this affiliation towards these people and all that. I think that was one of the things he affected. But Buhari was not a very religious person. He was not a, he's a Fulani man. The Fulani people are not that religious in their respect. That's the real truth. That's why you see Gumi say he's taking books to them so that they can learn about Islam and all that stuff. Now, like I said originally, one of the things that affected Buhari was his health, his frailty. We talked about the refineries.
But he was very healthy during this, almost all the second tenure.
Yes, that time
it was government funds.
It was government funds and care.
To care for
wasn't moving anywhere. Now look at the refineries they said he was going to pay attention to. The refineries never worked. All through the 8 years he was in government. The reason is because the refinery has a way it can work. I saw, is it Ajulari, the new GMD in NNPC? Is it GMD now? I think. Whatever he is, the new head of NNPC. He said they're having issues with so many of these things. Some of the things they should have done was to sell this refinery off. And
Atiku talked about selling refineries, and if
in
people
fact, Obasanjo actually sold. I think Port Harcourt and Warri to Dangote, and there was a public outcry that he had hand in it. So when Yaradua came back, they revoked them. That's when what's his name? Dangote started building his own refinery. Now, people like Buhari should have taken the initiative of selling off this refinery and holding maybe a 10 to 20% stake. Do you understand? In the refineries, I have some friends in the refineries or in NNPC that are upstream that knew about so many of these things, negotiation they entered and all that. If this new government, most of them want to succeed, it's only that what they do, when they get there, they get enshrined in the corruption and they begin to eat from there.
All right, Philip, what lessons do leaders learn from this? Even while we keep shouting that power is transcendent, life itself is transcendent, they can see that, someday you're going to call it a day. No matter how strong you are, no matter how weak you are. What lessons should our leaders learn from this?
Just one lesson. When you're in power, try to uphold the rule of law. Be a man of integrity, a man of character. Try and leave legacy behind and stop acquiring wealth for your great unborn children. It will not take you anywhere, because if you do, that wealth you so acquire for them, they might not live to enjoy it. That bad name that you leave behind might destroy all of that. Like I said before, Buhari had good name in 1983 to 1985, but that name is not. If Buhari has passed on that time, Nigeria
should have been crying that, had it been Buhari was alive to lead us.
So those who are in power, and they should learn that a good name is better than silver.
All right, 1 minute.
It's sad that we're talking about him this way, but it will be a thing of joy for me that one day we'll talk about a leader that has passed on, like the whole world talk about Nelson Mandela.
Yeah.
He ruled, Buhari could have ruled for 4 years and go and sit down. The same way Baba Ahmed is calling on President Asiwaju to rule for 4 years and go and
bring a very young,
vibrant, and within his purview, his eye, he will see somebody else and he will say, "That's my boy, and that's my boy." Listen, it's not about the political party. It's not about everybody you can control. Even God doesn't control everybody in some respect.
In some respect, so, he gave up power of choice.
Yes, he said, choose. I pray before you live and then bless my cousin. Yes. He said, but my advice, choose life. All right, you can't control everybody.
The burial of our late former president is going to be Tuesday. I think it's been moved to Tuesday, so we hope to continue to monitor events there. Hopefully you guys will be around so we can look at that and maybe more on his life and times, so that the living can learn some lesson. Thank you for hanging around. We'll be right back.